If you're tired of the country where you live because it's becoming unaffordable, quality of life is dropping drastically, and you're considering moving to Montenegro, you're making the smart choice, and this video is for you. Here I will be sharing how to get temporary residency in Montenegro. And if you're worried about, oh, but how am I going to find a job? Then make sure you stick around until the end because I'll be talking about that as well. So I came to Montenegro on vacation and I just never left. And I live here because it is fantastic for me and my needs. It's an amazing country and quality of life is really high. Cost of living is very affordable considering we're in Europe, right? And in comparison to places like Germany or countries in North America. And there's stunning nature. The people are warm and friendly. And these are just listing a few of the things that I love about living in Montenegro. So if you've been looking for places to move to and Montenegro has come on your list, whether you're coming alone or you're coming with dependents, Montenegro has a lot to offer. And you should check out my channel because I have all of this content about buying a property, about giving birth here, about what life is really like here, the pros and cons of living here, the things that I loved and the things that I hate. Of course, when I mentioned the things that I hated, I got a lot of hate for it, hate for hate. But yeah, you would find a lot of helpful content in my Montenegro playlist on my channel. And while you're enjoying the videos, feel free to subscribe if you're new to my channel. And if you have been watching my videos so far, thank you. Thank you so much for your continued support. I really appreciate it. I don't want to waste your time, so let's dive into it, guys. Typically and theoretically, there are 5 ways you can attain temporary residency in Montenegro. The first one is by company formation, which is the one most people do because it's the most realistic. The second one is by property acquisition. You purchase a property, this gives you a right to become a temporary resident. The third one is by study, but it's not so common for people to use this route because it's a small country and there are only like 3 universities in the entire country. The fourth way is by marriage. Of course, if you marry a Montenegrin citizen, then you have a right to be here and this can really help you get your temporary residence here. The fifth way is by docking your yacht on Montenegrin ports. If you're super rich, then this is an option. If you have a yacht, if you have a boat and you dock in Montenegrin port, then you can get residency by that automatically. So let's talk about company formation, most common option, and how you can obtain temporary residency through that. Before I continue, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at 5footnomad. Okay, there I share content about Montenegro, the day-to-day life, how much things cost, what life is like here. I share motivational content as well because I'm a therapist and to inspire people, to go after the life that they want and not hold themselves back with overthinking and worrying and excuses. Also, I share cool stories. So feel free to follow me at 5footnomad and don't forget to say hi. To become a temporary resident in Montenegro via company formation, you have to create a company. And this means that if you have dependents or you're coming alone, you can relocate and apply for temporary residency using this company as your sort of host. So for the documents that you need in order for you to create a company, you need your passport, of course, you need your unique company name and address. The law says at least €1 in founding capital, but of course you want to show some money. A company bank account in Montenegro is one of the things you need. The laws keep changing all the time, so there are some banks that can allow you create a company before you're a resident, and there are some banks that won't. And also a stamp with your company name and logo. Before we dive into how much it costs to register a company here in Montenegro, you need to think of how you're going to create a company. I haven't really heard of anyone who did it themselves. You want to get a lawyer or an accountant. Personally, I recommend an accountant to help you create your company and then help you to further the process for your temporary residency application. And the reason why I'm not saying lawyer is because when I first came here, I used a lawyer and he did an amazing job, actually, considering I'm African. Because if you are African or you're from a third world country, the process of you actually obtaining residency through company formation is a bit more complex. So I will talk about it later in the video. Using a lawyer is great, but personally, I found them to be a bit more pricey. We've just talked about all the documents that you need and they're pretty standard, they're pretty straightforward, right? So how much is it going to cost you in order for you to get your company formed? So basically, for you to register your company in Montenegro with the Central Registry of Business Entities, it costs around €500, including VAT, which is 21%. And this also depends on your unique situation. It could be more or less. After you've created the company, this takes maybe a week or 2 weeks max, or even less. And then you start the application for your temporary residency with the lawyer or with the accountant that you choose. And for people who are from countries in Europe or countries in North America or Asia or first, second world countries overall, it's much more straightforward. For example, you don't need to show substantial proof of funds for you and your dependents. Unlike if you're an African or someone from a third world country, then you need to show proof of funds for you and your dependents. For example, my spouse is a European citizen. They didn't need to show anything, but because I am African and I'm their dependent, I had to show proof of funds in my account for 3,650 euros. So if you have kids, then you need to show the same sum for every single person. And as for the documents that you need in order for you to apply for your temporary residency, you need your passport, of course. You need the company documents. You need your police character certificate or police clearance certificate from your home country to show that you are not a criminal. Tourism payment receipts. When people visit here for tourism, you're supposed to go to the tourism office and register yourself and pay a certain fee for every day that you're in the country. So when you want to create a company, you need to show receipts for those payments that you made. But if, for example, you're already in Montenegro and you haven't paid this tourism fee, it's fine. You can just tell the person who's going to help you, whether a lawyer or an accountant, and they will organize it for you. High school diploma, of course, or university degree, then your marriage certificate, if you're married, also birth certificate for all the children that are under you. And this marriage certificate, guys, has to be authenticated by the Serbian embassy in your country. Okay, the Serbian embassy in most countries is responsible for handling visas and authentications for Montenegro, right? Because Montenegro is a small country, so I don't think they can afford to have embassies everywhere. So because Serbia is a much bigger country, then they just handle everything for Montenegro. So you have to have your marriage certificate and probably the birth certificates of your dependents authenticated in the Serbian embassy in your home country. Proof of funds. When you have all of these documents, you can apply for your temporary residency. And of course, they could ask for more documents depending on your nationality, depending on where you reside. Of course, every situation is unique and you have to ask the lawyer or the accountant the best way forward. It's worth mentioning that when you apply for temporary residency as the director of the company, you are automatically applying for work permit as well. So when you get your temporary residency card, it's going to say temporary resident permit and work permit for the main applicant or the director of the company. It's going to cost you roughly 350 euros to make that application. So let's do the roundup for how much it will cost you to form the company and to also apply for your temporary residency. So, like I said before, company formation costs roughly 500 euros for everything. And temporary residence application will be 350 euros. But bear in mind that there are other cost points as well. For example, police clearance, which could be like 70 euros. Tax office fees, like 5 euros. Medical check, which could be 15 euros. Translation as well, which could be around 80 euros or thereabout, depending on who you use. Medical insurance for you, which could be, let's say, around 50 to 60 euros. And also another cost point could be diploma validation, which could be around 100 euros. So everything in total that you're going to spend will become 1,200 euros for just you alone. And your dependents will also have their fees as well. And bear in mind, after you've gotten your first temporary residency, then the renewal would be half the price. Or you can choose to do it yourself, which would cost you not as much. If you need help, you can send me a message on Instagram and I can recommend the accountant that I use to help you out with your temporary residency application. Of course, before you move to any country, it's always advisable to come visit. Don't be like me that came here on tourism and just never left. I mean, yes, that could work, but you have to see that it's good for you. But for anyone who needs a visa, it is quite problematic because in order for you to apply for your temporary residency, you need to have a visa C or visa D, right? And in order for you to apply for either visa C or visa D from your home country or your country of residence, you need to have an invite letter from someone who lives in Montenegro who can vouch for you and say, look, if this person does something shady, I will take the risk and I'm vouching for them. So think about it. If you don't know anyone in Montenegro, it is quite problematic then because it's harder to find someone who's going to do that for you, especially when the person doesn't know you. And I actually found companies who provide this service. The issue is that they said, look, I don't even want to provide this service anymore because it is so high risk and no amount of money is worth taking that risk, except maybe the person wants to be my client where I'm now going to help them with the whole immigration or relocation process. That's the only way I can take someone like that. So it's a bit of an issue there in that sense, right? So if you are a third country national and you want to move to Montenegro and you're not sure how you're going to get an invite letter in order for you to apply for the visa C or visa D that you need, what I would advise you to do is that you get a valid multiple entry UK, US, or Schengen visa. And this visa allows you to come to visit Montenegro without needing a Montenegrin visa. And when you have this visa, you come here. Maybe you can contact me and I will refer an accountant to you who can advise you and help you with the process. But yes, you come here and you see the accountant and you explain your situation to them and they start the process of company formation for you. You, of course, pay them their fee and they will then write you an invite letter if they're willing to do that because, of course, it's high risk. But I mean, if you're already their client, then they could be willing to do that for you. And it could also come at extra cost. So that is one way that you can get the invite letter that you need in order to apply for visa C and visa D. And then you come back and you complete the whole process to be a resident here. So like I said, it's a bit complicated for third country nationals. And of course, like I said, you also have to show this substantial proof of funds of 3,650 euros per person for you and all your dependents. But if you're someone from a first world country or second world country, lucky you, right? You can just show up here whenever you like and just apply for a temporary residency and just never leave. And of course, you also don't need to show proof of funds of 3,650 euros in your bank account for you and your dependents if all your dependents are also first or second world country national. So you have decided to move to Montenegro. You've chosen an accountant or a lawyer who's going to help you with the process. And you have done the company formation and you have applied for a temporary residency. The whole process could take 1 to 2 months maximum, depending on how quickly you can get your documents. So once you've applied for temporary residency, yeah, you're now in the country and you will get your temporary residency card. Okay, it's valid for 1 year and you have to renew it every year. Don't forget, if you're thinking of the jobs you're going to do here in Montenegro, I'm going to be talking about that at the end of this video. So make sure you're still watching and you stick around until the end and make sure you subscribe to my channel because all things Montenegro, I'm your blog, okay? And if you're someone from a third world country who's hoping for citizenship, I don't know if Montenegro is the best option for you because after 5 years of being a temporary resident, or you become a permanent resident and you have to be a permanent resident for 5 more years in order for you to qualify to apply for citizenship. But I know people who are not even from third world country, but from neighboring countries like Croatia, and they try to be citizens of Montenegro after like 15 years of being here and they don't get it. So it is very, very hard. And actually, it reminds me of Nigeria in terms of you need to be highly connected or know the right people that know the right people who know someone who can help you get citizenship. So that part is not really enticing. But if you want to become a permanent resident of a country in Europe, then yeah, it's an amazing choice. And this is a pretty straightforward option. So if you're wondering if you can start the relocation process remotely, yes, it is possible, but you have to contact the accountant or the right lawyer and they will tell you exactly how it's going to be done. But like I said, before moving to a place, it's always important to see it, to spend at least 30 days there to see if it's for you or not. Of course, 30 days is never enough, but it's best to see it with your eyes, get a feel for it, see if you can get basic things there on what you want before moving there. But if, for example, you can't travel, then my videos will help you. I have a Montenegro playlist with all the videos where I share what life is really like in Montenegro, the things that I hate, the things that I find shocking, the things that I love about living here, and crime rate, and how it is here to raise kids, buying a property. All of you can find them on my channel. I will leave the link in the description. If, for example, you're saying, I don't want to form a company, I want to become a resident by property acquisition, understand that in order for you to become a temporary resident by property acquisition, you need to purchase a property with a minimum of 34 square meters per person. Also, a foreigner can own a landed residential property that does not exceed 5,000 square meters. Basically, you're not allowed to own more than 5,000 square meters as a foreigner in Montenegro. Make some more research. This is to the best of my understanding. Also, when purchasing a house, check that the property is legalized. Okay, legalized being it's been registered with the government and it's in the right zoning. They are allowed to build there, because it's common that a lot of houses are not legalized, and then you find yourself spending 1, 2, 3 years trying to legalize a property that you just bought, and of course in that time you can't sell. And a lot of people don't like to buy properties that are not legalized. Have you found the information that I've just provided useful? Did you get any new information? Do you have more questions? You can ask me in the comments. And as promised, I said that I would talk about finding jobs in Montenegro. So if you've watched until now, this is the part you really want to pay attention to. So a lot of people moving to Montenegro are hoping to find jobs. Maybe they're leaving their country due to war, maybe Ukraine or Russia, or you're in a place that you don't like, yeah, you want to move here. Basically, when it comes to jobs and working in Montenegro, I feel like Montenegro is best for people who work remotely and for people who are retired. For example, you don't need a job, you have all this capital that you made from your home country, and you just want to live your life in a tourist destination, have this amazing lifestyle, then it is perfect for you. But if you're finding jobs, the truth, guys, is that it is incredibly hard to find jobs in Montenegro for a couple of reasons. The first one being language barrier. The official language here is Serbian or Montenegrin. And in order for you to work in the local economy, you have to speak any of these languages. So it's going to be hard for you to now say, oh, I only speak English, but now I'm now going to learn Montenegrin in order to work here. Yes, maybe you're a genius and you can learn a language in 3 months and be perfect at it. But yeah, that's something to bear in mind, that makes it difficult to really find a job here. And another thing that makes it difficult is the country is very small. Okay, the total population of Montenegro is what, 600 and something thousand people. In the capital city of Podgorica, where most people are, it's like 200 and something thousand people. Like, what this means is that job opportunities are very limited. Considering it's hard to find jobs in Montenegro, the option that I see is to either find remote work somewhere that would allow you to live a comfortable life here, or you have to do something for yourself. You already have a company through your company formation for temporary residency. So it's to do something with that company and to start a business. And there are a lot of business opportunities here. Of course, there's still the language barrier. You need to understand the culture in order to create a business. But that is mostly the only way, creating your own job. Of course, when you're here, you would see what's lacking, especially if you're coming from a first or second world country, and you would come up with ideas of what you can do. So if you're looking for jobs here in Montenegro, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but there are no jobs here per se. I mean, any jobs that are available, the locals are going to get it, except maybe there's a foreign company moving to Montenegro and they need foreigners, people who speak English, and you have a special skill that you don't even need language and you can just work in that job. In summary, relocating to Montenegro is one of the best decisions you can make, because to me, it is perfect. It's paradise in terms of the quality of life is really high. Cost of living is affordable. And in my Montenegro playlist, which I will leave the description below, as you watch all these videos, you will see that living in a tourist destination, every trip you make is a vacation, literally. And the 4 seasons are amazing. For me as an African, that's something that I absolutely love. 4 seasons, because you don't have 4 seasons in Nigeria, which is where I'm from. And people are nice. People are warm towards you. Even though the official language is Montenegrin, many people here speak English. I mean, my Montenegrin is so bad. Yes, I can say kakoste, I can say bravo, bravo, I can say koliko and all these small words, but I get by every day with English because many people here speak English. Moving here is amazing, and thankfully it's not a woke country. People here are very conservative and traditional in their values. You're making a good decision, and you can get residency here by company formation. And when you create a company, you apply for your residency and you become a resident, and you can choose to live anywhere you want in Montenegro. Maybe I'll make a video about how to choose where to live in Montenegro based on your preference, based on your lifestyle. If you've watched until now, thank you so much for your continuous support. Don't forget to check out my Montenegro playlist. And if you want to learn more information about moving to Montenegro, my Montenegro relocation guide will really help you there. I will leave the description in the link below. So until next time, I wish you happy relocation. If you have any questions, don't forget to ask me. If you need recommendations for an accountant or a lawyer, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram at 5footnomad, and I will get back to you. And so thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care of yourself and have a good one. Ciao.